record. And I will try to open the notepad so that I can write what are the topics we have covered. Yeah, so I guess Satya, you raised your hand. Do you have any doubt?
Yes, Abhishek.
Yeah, please tell me.
See, we are creating few data sets, right? For example, when we are trying to load from on-premise to cloud, we are
Hmm.
creating few data sets.
Hmm.
For sync also, like moreover, like it is like sources for source and sync is for target. Right?
Yes.
So when we are creating these data sets, why few of the data sets are not getting visible in sync?
Few of the data set is not getting visible. What do you mean by that?
Can you open any one of the copy data which we created?
Means few of the like sources are not available. Is that you mean? Like
Yes.
that is what you mean?
See, yeah, I mean to say that, see, before creating a copy data activity, I have created a few data sets
Hmm.
beforehand itself. So when
Hmm.
I try to call, like, for example, the source might be on-premise and the sync might be cloud.
Hmm.
So when I was doing that, like these data sets, few of them, I mean to say, are not visible in sync.
Can you tell me the name?
Now you're creating it. Before, see, few
No,
data
no, no.
sets are,
Yeah, yeah. So, like, let me elaborate. So, like, when you created a data set, you created for which source? Was it a data lake? Was it a on-premise? If it is on-premise,
on-premise.
then what was the source name? What was the source name?
Well, I
Like,
didn't create, see, I didn't create it over here.
yeah, I
The
totally get your point. I totally
uh,
understood what you have done. What I want to ask you that which particular on-premise source
SQL
you
Server.
have MS SQL Server, you mean, right?
Uh,
MS SQL Server, this SQL Server, right?
Yes, correct.
So if you create a data set for this SQL Server, it will be visible in sync 101%. Why for a few of them it won't be visible, that I will tell you now. Data set, pipeline, activity, copy data. I am opening a documentation, Microsoft documentation of copy data activity. So see, these are the source and sync are supported. Okay. So you
Okay,
cannot basically move anything from anywhere. Suppose if I choose MySQL as source, it is supported. But if I choose MySQL as sync, it is not supported. So
okay,
you can see over here, right? But
okay,
if you go to SQL Server on-premise, SQL Server on-premise, the source is also supported, sync is also supported. So 101% you can do that, what you're trying to do. So suppose if you want to choose as sync your SQL Server, you will be able to do it. But if you choose MySQL, you cannot do it. So like all the source and all the sync is not supported. Whatever has been given here, that is supported. So that you can choose as source and sync. So suppose if you create a data set, right? And in the data set, you have referred, because we basically understood that what is data set? Data set is a reference point of where your data is located. So in your data set, if you have referred MySQL server, and if you're choosing that data set as a source, it will come. But if you're choosing that as a sync, it will not come. Why? Because MySQL server as a sync is not supported, right?
got it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Abhishek.
So this documentation, you can keep it handy. And when I talk about copy data activity in a more detailed fashion, I talk about this as well, which like as I have shared the recording with you, right? So you can go through it and then like you will probably get it totally. Okay. Uh, Now any other doubt, guys? If you have any doubt, please tell me now. Satya, you asked your doubt. Kitika, do you have any doubt? Okay, I'm not, still not able to hear you. If you have any doubt, you can type in the chat. And I think, yeah, so I will try to answer that question. If not, then we can take it in the last of the class, or you can call me after the class. Okay. Okay, fine. So what will be the agenda for the today's class? What will be the agenda for the today's class? Today we will understand how. So first of all, yeah, yeah, I am muting you, Ram Kumar. Okay, fine. So what will be the agenda for today's class? We understood how to copy the file from source to sink. A simple copy we have understood. So, and I think it has been covered for everyone, right? So simple copy, we know how to do it. So source, we will choose a source, and then we will do the simple copy. I'm making a copy data activity for simple copy from source to sink by using data lake. That is what I'm doing right now. And then what we will understand how to parameterize that particular data set so that that data set can be used to copy any file instead of copying that specific file, right? So that we will understand today. So first of all, I am making a simple copy data activity in which I will copy a one file from source to sink. But in the end of the class, we should be able to understand how to use that data set to copy any file, right? That is the basic agenda. And so what will be the agenda for today's class? We will understand how to create a parameterize data set. That is our agenda for today's class. Okay. So let's create a simple copy data activity, and then we'll try to parameterize that copy data activity. Okay. So I will type data lake gen 2 CSV file. So here I am, yes, yes, Satya.
Abhishek, just to ask you one more question, like, if ever we are creating a pipeline, say a pipeline, so
Hmm.
in the monitor, if we are going to check if there is a failure, it will be popping up a message. Is there
Hmm.
any option like where we can find the entire log, like how data came in and how data got inserted into target? Is there any step-by-step process of a log that is available in ADF?
uh, like what has been overall covered, like what has been happened process wise, you
Yes,
mean?
yes, yes, exactly.
One second, I will show you a window. One second, give me a moment.
Okay.
Let me complete this and then I will show you.
Yeah, no problem.
So source data lake, I have chosen source data lake, and then in from the input container from the folder department.csv I want to move. So I have selected that. First row as a header, import schema as none. Then I am going to the sink. I am giving data lake gen 2 again. And then CSV file. Here I will write sync parameter, sync parameter.
Hi, Abhishek. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Please ask your doubt. What was your doubt?
Regarding the linked services, we have two or three storage accounts. So each and everything having a Gen 2 and blob, right?
Hmm.
So for each and every load, the data copy or whatever, we have to create those many linked services or like,
So one source, one link service is enough. Because your data factory
mm,
is connected, like you have a connection of data factory with that data lake. So for ideally for all the pipeline, you will not create a different link service. You will use the existing link service. So once you created a connection of with one data source, you can basically use it iteratively among all the pipelines. Suppose this is the link service which I have created for this data lake. So I can
Okay.
access, or I can basically access all the container in all the pipelines. So I will just create one link service for one data source, and that is it, that you can use it. So yeah, you are just connecting your data factory with that particular source once only.
But this data lake Gen 2 is like it's created under one particular account, right? So if I have another Gen 2, then I have to create another linked services, and from there I can select
Yes,
all the data set,
yes,
right?
yes, yes, you're right.
Okay. And we are having the self-hosted integration, right? We are
Yes.
downloading. So
Yeah.
like what it is really like, you are telling that it is a software. So but actually what it is doing in our PC, like is it a network drive or something like a software, or what it's actually at a local computer level?
So what it is basically doing, it's like what is inside this, that I don't know, but what it is basically doing. So suppose this is your this is your ADF, right?
Yeah.
This is your ADF, and then suppose if you want to move the data from on-premise server, which is
Mm,
this,
mm,
and this software which you have installed. So ADF cannot interact directly with your server.
server.
So what
Okay.
ADF will do, ADF will interact with this self-hosted integration runtime.
Mm,
So that is why you're authenticating ADF. Like when you're installing this self-hosted integration runtime, you're giving a key of ADF to the self-hosted integration runtime, so that you are giving authorization that hey, you can connect with you have full permission to connect with ADF. Now, once you have an active internet connection in your computer, then this particular self-hosted integration runtime will basically reach out to your server. Suppose if you installed MS SQL Server or MySQL Server over here,
mm,
then this will reach out to this. How it
okay.
will reach out? It will say that, hey, I do have your ID and password, which you mentioned in the link service, right? Then
Okay.
he will reach out to this and tell that, hey, my password is cloud. My this particular my sorry username is cloud. My password is the SQL pool 1234, and my IP address is this XYZ. He will just give the information, and then he will interact with this. So your basically your data movement will happen through the self-hosted integration runtime. So self-hosted integration runtime is basically helping ADF to connect, and
Mm-hmm.
this self-hosted integration runtime is server wise. So suppose in your server, if you have 5 databases, so suppose in my computer, if I install MySQL, MS SQL, and suppose PostgreSQL, for example, then I need to install only one self-hosted integration runtime in my server. I don't need to install multiple self-hosted integration
Multiple.
runtime. Yep.
Mm,
Okay. Now coming to your question, what is this software? Do you have the
yeah.
details of this software? That I don't know. Probably you need to check it out, or I can check it out and let you know. But
Okay.
what is this internally? What software contains? What is the configuration? That I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. And this data factory is more of like it still resides in Azure, right?
Yeah.
Because you're saying that it is a bridge, but still that bridge is also there in the Azure platform,
Hmm.
which is connecting our storage and the the on-premise cluster.
ADF is a like orchestration tool. It is a tool which helps you to move your data from one point to another, and also it helps you to orchestrate the whole overall process. That is it.
More of an like a orchestrator. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
orchestration process. Suppose once you, so now if you ask me, Abhishek, data factory has a job only for a movement? No, because data factory can trigger your stored, suppose after the movement, if you have moved the data in the Azure cloud storage, then
Mm,
after that, if you want to trigger some sort of stored procedure, some sort of notebooks, those also can be done from ADF.
okay.
Okay, so it is a orchestration process end to end. It will orchestrate the whole process. Not only movement, it will orchestrate the whole process as well. What I mean by orchestration, suppose if you move the data from here to here,
Mm,
now here you want to do, here you want to join all the data set, right? Then you need to write a stored procedure in your SQL database that can be triggered from ADF. That also can be done, which we
okay.
will learn going forward. So here you have different, beside copy data activity, you have different like here I will show you. Here you have a stored procedure activity, notebook activity, a various kind of activity. So yeah, so you have basically data movement activity, copy data activity, data transformation activity. So transformation activity can be used for the orchestration as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Abhishek. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now,
Yeah,
yeah. So
Abhishek,
first, yes.
sorry, I have one question here. Now, data lake can store anything, right? I mean, like files, tables,
Mm,
photos, anything, right? In data
mm,
lake, we can store anything, right?
yeah. Yes, you're right.
So, when we are selecting a source or a sink as a data lake, it is giving only specific limited option. Right now, till now, we are either choosing CSV. Most of the things what we are doing is file.
Mm.
What if we want to load in like, for example, the source we are taking as a file, but as a sink in target we are loading the same data in the table. That is general scenario, right? What we'll do from the file to the table. In that case, what is the option we have to choose while selecting? Can you just, if one step
So,
back?
so when you
Yeah, here we just have these files.
no, no,
The
one
source
second.
can be file.
It will come as per the, suppose here if you are moving data to data lake, that is why you are getting
Yeah.
those options. Suppose if you use SQL over here, then those
No,
options will change.
I understand. For SQL, yes, we have a table. We can create a table while mapping, or we can import our complete structure of the table from the source.
Hmm.
But this is also an option, right, Abhishek? From the file to the table is also an option. In data lake, if we can store tables also, then where is this option here?
Table. What do you mean by table?
Mm,
Like suppose
um,
if there is a CSV file and then
mm,
you want to store it as a table. What do you mean by that?
exactly.
What do you mean by
Yes.
that?
What I mean means like in a tabular format.
So
Like how
suppose
we have a table, like if it is an employee table or in any other table, can't we store in an table?
table you
What?
can store in SQL database. If you want to
Not
store,
in data lake.
no, no, no. Data lake you can store as a table in Delta Lake, not Data Lake. Delta Lake is a different, which we
Oh, okay.
build on top of a, by using Databricks, we make Delta tables. So
Okay.
so Delta Lake you can do, but as a table. So suppose you can consider Data Lake as a storage device. Okay.
Mm,
So there you can store your flat files. You can store, like, you cannot make tables. Table can be made in the made in the Delta Lake, which is built on
okay.
top of a data lake by using Databricks. Okay, so like if you want to store as a table right now, you can use a SQL database, or you can use Delta Lake for that
Got
for
it.
those
Then my
purpose. Okay.
assumption was wrong. Then
Yeah.
okay.
So
Got
in
it.
Data Lake, you
Thanks.
cannot store it as a table. Okay. Okay, fine.
Okay.
So let's move forward, and then if we have any other doubt, let me complete this topic, and then I will take answer those questions. Currently, one particular question which is pending to answer is to go to the monitor tab and then show you what are the options are there to Satya. Okay. Now here data lake Gen 2 sync, and here I am choosing this particular thing, and here I will choose output, and then I will click OK. Here I will write, suppose, directory folder, and then file name department dot csv, first row as a header, import schema as none, click OK. Now here I am doing a normal copy by selecting one file, right? Parameter pipeline. So here I selected one file in the source. So I created two data set. If you see over here, there are two data set which I created. This is the one data set. This is the one data set for source. This is the one, another data set for sync. Let me, so I will try to name it in the same manner so that it's clear. Sync, data lake. Okay, fine. So I created one source, one for the source, one for the sync. Okay, that is the data set which I created, but I selected one specific file, right? Which I don't want to do. I want to make this data set in such a way that it should work for all the file. But let's copy it, and then we will try to do the parameterization after that. Okay, so I'm just running this copy data activity for now. Done, successfully completed. So here if I go to my storage account, if I open this data lake, 1 second, it is IG2, I guess, right? So I'm just checking the link service of the data lake, which data lake I'm referring to. So add it, yeah, IG2. So here if I go IG2, if I open data lake storage, if I go to output, folder, yeah, if you see 10:58 p.m. On 9th. Okay, so today we have done this and the file has been moved. Now suppose uh, I don't want to do like this. I want to make my data set in such a way that it should work for like all the file, right? Instead of working for one specific file. And ideally that is a best practice. So whenever you are creating a data set, you should basically create a parameterized data set so that you don't create multiple data set in your environment. Ideally one data set for one source, like one data set for one particular data source is enough, right? So suppose if I'm using data lake, if I make one data set for the source, one data set for the sink, same data set can be used in other pipeline as well if you parameterize it properly. Okay, so that is what we will do now. So here we will try to create, we will try to parameterize our data set. Okay, so I am going, so suppose here if I click, right, this is the settings of the pipeline. Whatever you do over here, these are the settings of the pipeline. If you click over here, this is the setting of the copy data activity. Okay, so whatever you do over here, this is the setting of the copy data activity. Now I created two data set. Okay, so if I open this is the source data set. So suppose this is the pipeline, this is the source data set, this is the sync data set. Okay, now if I open this is a source data set and this is sync data set. Now what I want to do, I want to parameterize my source data set. So I will create a parameter in my source data set. Okay, and what are the parameters I will create in data lake? In data lake there are three things required. What are those things required? First of all, I to locate any file in data lake, to locate any file in the data lake, what are the things is required? First, I should tell the container name. Then I should tell the directory name. Then I should tell the file name, right? So that is how I can locate any file. So I need three parameter basically. To be passed here, to be passed here, and then to be passed here. One for the container name, one for the directory name, and one for the file name. So accordingly, I will create three parameters here. One for the container name, one for the directory name, one for the file name. So I will write container, directory, and file. And similarly, if I write those things over here, I can pass those parameter over here. I will remove this. I will pass container, directory, file name. Still the value which I have passed, I will still pass it, but I will created a parameter and here I pass those parameter. Okay, similar thing I will do in the sync as well. So I will create parameter, container, directory, file name, container, directory, file name, and all of those things I will pass over here as well. Container, directory, file name. Simple. So I created a parameter pipeline. Here in the source also I created three parameter. In the sync also I created three parameter. Why? because I need 3 parameter to locate any file in the data lake. If it is a SQL server, then I need only 2 parameter. What are those? Schema table name. That's all, right? So, but in data lake, we need 3 parameter. That is why I created 3 parameters. Okay. Now, these value. So suppose if I write any value over here, if I write input directory is, what was the directory before? Folder and then department.csv, right? That was the directory before, department.csv, and sync. So suppose if I write these values over here, this value can go over here, right? So yeah, so here if I return the value container equals to input, this container parameter I passed over here, right? So it will come over here. So we have parameterized it. Similarly, in the sync, I can write output folder and department.csv. Okay. So we parameterize. Now I can run it for the same file as before, but I can run it for different file as well if I just change the value. Okay. So it can run from the different file as well, but I'm running for the same file for now. Okay. Done. Now copy has been done. Okay. So we have run it for the same file. Now suppose I don't want to pass like this. I want to parameterize it more. I want to pass this value from the pipeline parameter. So as I told you, as I told you guys, that if I click over here, all of these are pipeline setting. If I click over here, this is the copy data setting. If I open this, this is the data set setting. Okay, so we have created parameter in the source in the sync. Three parameter we created. Why 3 parameter? Because data lake to locate any file, we need 3 parameters. As simple as that. Now I want to pass this value from the pipeline parameter. So what I will do, I will go over here, I will create parameter over here. 6 parameters I will create, 3 for the source, 3 for the sync, right? So here I will create source container name, source directory, source file name. Similarly, sync container name, sync directory, sync file name. Okay, here I will pass the value, simple. So here I will go, I will pass source container name. So just like, so here it is saying pipeline parameter. Okay, pipeline parameter, source container name, source directory, source file name. Similarly, I will do in the sync as well. I will not pass it from here. I will pass it from the sync container name, sync directory, sync file name. Okay, we passed in the source, we passed in the sync. Now this value I can control from here as well. So I'm just publishing my pipeline now. Okay, it is published. Now suppose if I trigger this pipeline, okay, if I trigger this, now it's asking me the value. I cannot basically run the pipeline. So whenever I am debugging or running this pipeline, it will ask me the value. So if I'm just pass the value over here, source container name was input, directory was folder, file name was department.csv, department.csv, sync container name output, directory was folder, file name is department department.csv again, right? So if I run it now, it will run for department.csv, but I can run it for any file. So ideally, whenever you join a company, and then in the company, if you see the practice of creating a data set for each pipeline, different data set for each pipeline, it is not a good practice. Why? Because you're doing your environment, you are creating you're making your environment messy. Why? Because you will just create multiple data set instead of creating the data set parametrically. So suppose if I created this if I created this data set parametrically, then if I'm making a new pipeline, for example, right? And here I paste a copy activity. Now suppose Sudeshna, I created this parameterized data set. Now Sudeshna also wants to move the data from the same IG to data lake, right? And then she wants to basically move it, like she wants to take it as a source. Then I will tell Sudeshna to use this source data lake, okay? And then she can pass whatever value she wants to pass over here. She can pass it, right? Or she can just create a pipeline parameter and then pass it from there instead of recreating the data set, right? So we created a parameterized data set, and then we basically pass whatever value we want to pass, and then we can reuse the data set. That will not create multiple data set over here. If I have these two data set for that data lake, then I won't be able to, like, I will not create multiple data set to basically handle my case, and it is very easy to manage. So suppose in the company you have like 20 data sources, ideally like 40 data set or 45 data set, here and there some extra data set is okay, like 45 to 50 data set. But if you have 20 data sets, 20 source in your company, and then you're creating like for every pipeline, if you're creating multiple like data set, your environment will look like 200, 300 data set, and nobody knows which data set to use and which data set is referring what. So I have seen that happening in multiple organization, which is not a good practice. So uh, like during the class, I will also create data set. Like I will not try to parameterize everything and then basically create it in a very standard manner. But just for your reference, you should know that it is always and always best practice to create a parameterized data set instead of creating a hard-coded data set. Just like any simple, whenever you write any sort of code as well, right? So we try to basically create a parameterized code. We don't do the hard coding over there. Just a standard practice can be followed in data factory as well. And this is how you can do the parameterization of your data set. Any question with respect to this, guys?
Abhishek, here we are giving one file name, right?
Hmm.
In like per se, how we did the wildcard or a list of files.
Hmm.
Then how can we combine that
Yeah,
property in this parameter?
I will come into that topic. You want to say that, yeah, we basically want to do you want to do the for each of it, how it can be done, right? That is your question.
Yeah,
Yeah,
syntax.
yeah,
Yeah.
that will come coming forward. Yeah. Any doubt on this particular example, guys? Any doubt or anything which I can clarify? Anyone who wants to understand it once again, like how basically parameterization happened, or you get it completely? Anybody wants me to repeat it once again?
Abhishek, like add trigger is more of like running the application, right? That's what it is.
Uh, Trigger, I will teach, like for you, we haven't, like I haven't covered the trigger, but
Oh, okay.
like trigger is basically, suppose if you want to test the pipeline now,
Mm,
you will use debug to understand whether your pipeline is functioning or not, just the debugging process of the code or of the pipeline.
okay.
Trigger is more of a, like once you made this pipeline, you will basically, you want to suppose you are dealing with Walmart, so you want to trigger this pipeline to copy the data from on-premise server to cloud at 10 p.m. daily once your store is closed. So in that case, you will basically add a trigger at 10 p.m. So you can either trigger your pipeline at a particular specified time instead of coming here and then triggering it manually. And if
Okay,
you want
okay.
to trigger the pipeline now, you can use trigger now in that case.
Yeah, got you. Thank you.
Okay, guys. So I will reiterate it once again, just so that everybody understand it very like if you don't like everybody understand it fully. So I will just try to reiterate it once again. So the process is very simple. First of all, we need to create a parameterized data set, right? So let's go to the data set. What are the data set we created? We created 2 data set. So we'll go to the data set directly. Okay. So let's open data set. This is the data set. It once you open this window, you can directly see the parameter. We want to parameterize it. So let's go to the parameter. Simple, right? So we will go to the parameter. How many parameter we need to create? Because it's data lake, we will create 3 parameter. Why 3 parameter? Because in the data lake, you need basically 3 parameter to locate any file, right? So one for the container, one for the directory, one for the file name. Now suppose somebody says, suppose Narayan says that Abhishek, if I have 2 directory here, folder and another delta, then I have some more folder, for example, right? I have this folder, then there is a file. Then how I need 2 directory, right? How to handle this case? So for that, basically in the directory value, here in the directory value, when you're passing the directory value over here, you will pass input folder slash delta in that case, right? So here I will pass folder slash delta. I will write like this, folder slash delta. This is how I will write. And accordingly, here also it will be passed like this. Suppose if I write folder slash delta and container name slash folder slash delta, that is what we write, right? So folder slash delta. So that can be handled. So you can pass it accordingly. Okay. In the container name as well, you can pass it. Suppose if somebody wants to pass input slash folder, that also can be passed. Okay. So here you can pass input slash folder and that can be passed. Generally, we need 3 parameter. So here, once we open this, we create 3 parameters. Simple. Now, once we created a parameter, that parameter needs to be passed in the file path, because in the file path only we mentioned where to go. So here we pass it container. How to pass it? Very simple. Go over here, add dynamic content container, right? Similarly directory, similarly file name. We will do it in the source, we will do it in the sink. Same procedure, right? We'll go do it in the source, we will go do it in the sink. Same procedure. Once we do that, here also directly you can pass the value if you want to do it. But like the best practice is to pass it from the pipeline, so that whenever we are triggering the pipeline, we can pass it from here, right? So we created a pipeline parameter, 3 for the source, 3 for the sink. Why? Because we created 3 parameters in the source, 3 parameters. We created those parameter, and then we came here, we pass it one by one. How? Let's click over here, let's go to the value, add dynamic content. We will come over here and then we will select source container, source directory, source file name. Similarly, we will do it in the source, we will do it in the sink. And then whenever we want to trigger it, we'll pass the value. Same data set can be used across the pipeline for same source, for same data lake. So suppose if we want to basically reach out to a different data lake, then you need to create a different data set. But for one source, one parameterized data set is enough. Any doubt till here, guys? Very important topic, so it's very important that you understand it very clearly. So if you have any doubt, please ask me now.
Abhishek, I have a question here.
Yes.
So, do you mean like, when I'm creating a new pipeline for the same data source, the same parameterized pipeline would reflect here, right?
Not parameterized pipeline, parameterized data set which you created.
Parameterized data set. So that automatically reflects, right, for the same data source.
So suppose now this is the parameterized data set, 2 data set we created, right? Data lake, parameter, source, and no. This 2, source, Anuj, and 2
Sync.
sink and source. This data lake we created, right? Now, if I
Right.
want to create a pipeline, now here, right? And now if I want to move the data from on-premise, like suppose if you're copying the data from on-premise to sync as data lake, for example, right? So you can create a parameterized, because you haven't created a parameterized data set for SQL Server. You need to create a parameterized data for SQL Server. But for the sync, if you want to move the data on this data lake only as a sync, so here you can choose directly sync data lake, this you choose, right? And once you choose this, then you pass the container name, directory name, file name, wherever you want to move that file. You don't need to create a new data set. That is what I'm trying to say.
Yes, yes. Got it.
Okay.
Thanks, Harshit.
Abhishek, I do have a doubt.
Yes.
Here we are doing it for Azure Data Factory itself. What
Yes.
if I want to load uh, Azure to GCP?
Azure to
Azure,
GC, Azure to GCP.
yeah.
So
Uh,
here,
in-
yeah. So suppose if I write Google, 1 second, do we have a connector for GCP? 1 second. Yeah. So Google Cloud Storage. If I write Google, no, sync it is not possible probably. So if you go to the source, if I write Google Cloud Storage here, Google Cloud Storage, yeah, so you can create a parameterized data set for Google Cloud Storage as well. You can create a parameterized data set for any source, basically. What was the question? Your question was, can we create a parameterized data set for Google Cloud Storage? That was your question? Or your question is, can we move the data from Google Cloud Storage to any other storage? What was your question?
my question is like, source should be Azure, and my sync should be
No, 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 no,
Google Cloud.
no, no. So, okay, so your source should be Azure and your sync should be Google Cloud. Yeah, so that cannot be done.
Whatever it may be, maybe Snowflake, maybe Snowpipe, or whatever it may be.
Yeah,
But
so
from cloud to other cloud.
cloud to other cloud. So suppose if you say Google Cloud Storage cannot be selected as sync, you can see this, right? So here if I go,
Okay.
if I choose sync, if I go to the sync, and if I go to Google Cloud Storage, Google Cloud Storage, Google Cloud Storage, see, it is not, sync is not supported. Now let's see Amazon S3 bucket, for example, right? Amazon S3 bucket sync is also not supported. And it is pretty understood why
Okay.
Microsoft will move, why Microsoft will basically help to move the data to other cloud. Okay, so that is why they haven't given the connector. So sync is not supported, source is supported. And why source is supported? Because they want other cloud player. So like they want basically a connector so that you can choose other cloud player and then you can move the data to their data lake. That is why they haven't given the connector, though they can. So suppose if I am a
Okay.
Microsoft service
Understood.
provider, then I don't want people to move, to use my tool as a data factory, my tool, and move the data to basically other cloud, right? If you want to do that, use their tool. Why I will give that option? That is why they haven't given the option. Simple.
Okay.
Okay. But like this particular page is very handy. You can understand what are the connectors are possible. So suppose if somebody is saying that, hey, can I move the data to MySQL? No, you cannot do it. So these are the connectors are possible. But so suppose, is it very hard and fast? So in IT worlds, like some here and there workaround can be there by using this. So suppose any data source can be exposed as a like API, right? So by using API, you can still move the data, you can still do things, but it is not convenient to do that. But still it's possible, okay? So basically as a connector, it's not possible. What I mean by connector, so suppose if the connector is possible, right? If the connector is possible, then you can explore it around using the like from the window, I can explore the data source, that these are the tables are there, and then accordingly I can select a table and then move the table. But if connector is not there, then you need to make a API and then make a HTTP link service, and then from there you can move the data, but it is not convenient. but connector is not possible, and still you can do it by using APIs.
Okay, Abhishek, got it.
Any other question, guys? If not, then I will refresh this window. So this is the pipeline which we have created from source to sink. Let me cover up the topic which Shodeshna has said, how to do the for each of it, okay? Because we have already covered this, but if you don't totally get the for each, it's okay, because it will be too much. But if you get it, it's good. Because I will try to continue forward and then I will teach the for each, and I can repeat it once again in the next class. That's not an issue. If it is too much, okay? So let's do the for each of it. So what I will do, I will try to suppose what we have done right now. We basically moved one file, right? So here, what we have done, we just moved department.csv. But what I want to like pick another file, department2.csv, and I want to pick another file, suppose sample data.csv. I want to just pick 3 files only, right? And I want to move all of the files in a single folder, or if I want to move all the file in different folder, I just want to do whatever I want to, like I just want to reiterate this particular parameterized pipeline for different parameters, okay? That is what I want to do. So how to achieve this particular case, okay? How to achieve this particular case? So we need to do the for each of it in this case. So I will paste a for each loop here, and then I will copy paste this inside this, okay? I think I should teach this in the next class because it will be too much, but as a homework, probably you can take it forward. So we will paste this copy date activity inside this for each loop in that case. And then we will basically pass this source and sink value, from the for each loop. So let's cover it up in the next class. Probably it will be like too much for you guys, so I don't want to cover it today. First practice this, and then we will cover this in the next class. So the homework for the today's class will be create a parameterized pipeline, create a parameterized pipeline from data lake to data lake. Okay, choose data lake as a source, data lake as a sink. Then create a parameterized pipeline, and choose on-premise SQL Server to data lake. Okay. In this case, you need to create 2 parameter only, right? For the data lake, I will try to show you. So suppose if I choose SQL Azure SQL database, I'm choosing Azure SQL database, but the procedure is same, right? So here I will choose the link service. Suppose this link service. And then table name. Here I will not write any table name. Okay, this table name needs to be passed parametrically. Then if I go to the source, here I will create parameter, one schema, one table name. Why two? Why two? Because for the SQL you need only 2 parameter, table name and schema, table name and schema. And then this particular thing is to be passed here. So we will pass it like this, enter manually, schema name, add dynamically schema name, one for the schema, one for the table name. It should be parameterized like this, okay? And then you can just do the other steps, okay? So this is how we need to do the parameterization of the SQL Server to data lake. Now try to do it Yeah, so try to create a parametrize, and then if you can, try to do the for each of it. Try to do the for each of this. Okay, for each of moving multiple files from source to sync. Okay, this you can try after this, but this will be the topic of the next class because it's like a bit difficult, and then it needs more time, so I don't want to touch this topic. But you can just like try to complete for each if you can. Okay guys, so I think that's all for today. If you have any doubt, you can ask me now, or else we can conclude the today's class.
Abhishek, I have a doubt regarding the setup for cloud account. Can I talk to you
Yeah,
personally?
yeah.
Or-
So you can talk to me personally.
Okay, sure.
If the others, if you don't have any doubt, conceptual doubt, theory related doubt, you can drop off. I will share the recording, and then I will share the link in the group. And anybody who wants to share the screen, has tried something not working, anything of that sort, you can still stay in the call, and then we can basically discuss that now. Thank you guys for your time. Now, yeah, so if you have any setup related doubt, you can go ahead.
Abhishek, we
Yes.
thought of checking about the monitor log, right? Log.
Yeah, 1 second. So I will
Yeah.
show you once again. So if I go over here, so beside this, we don't have any logs. Here, what are the things we can see? We can see what is the source JSON input. Okay, so this is the source JSON input, which is the copy, like basically your data set setting. Now this is the output. What was the output? Like data read, data written. It is a successful or failure. All of those details you will see in this particular file. What is the copy amount time and copy amount duration you will see over here. Now, if I open this, you will uh, get more of an overview that from where to where you're moving, and all of those details you'll get over here. Now, beside this, these are the only logs which you get. Beside this, you don't get any logs. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So these are the logs you can get. Like, and also for the debugging, this is basically enough. Like this source and sync, and sometimes we use this as well. This is basically enough to check all sort of logs. But yeah, so from this you can basically debug. But in Databricks you will get more of a driver log in which you'll understand like what are the clusters are performing and all of that. But basically here you get only this.
So, Abhishek, let's
Yes.
say if pipeline failures, we will get those also, right, in the logs. I mean, what is the exact reason or message of the
Yeah.
failure?
So now suppose if I let me refresh this, I will try to fail your pipeline now so that
Yeah.
you can understand it totally. So suppose this is the parameterized pipeline I created. I want to trigger this pipeline, and I will type some random name because these directories are not present. It will throw error. So I will type some random things over here, and it will fail. It will show that this file doesn't exist or something like that, right? So it's running now. And if I go to the pipeline run, I can see the run now. It failed. Now here, if you open, you'll understand. Yeah, so see here showing you that operation return status code not found. IG2, this is not exist. So you'll get those kind of yeah. So from this you can basically understand, and here also you will see data return, data read, 0 activity message. This is the message of this activity. So you'll get this kind of a log.
Yes.
Okay.
So, let's say, Abhishek, let's say if you want to, get this failure information,
Hmm.
And if you want to push that into if you want to
Yeah, I understood what you're trying to. So you are
yeah,
saying that basically you want to store this message somewhere,
store,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
that I will teach you going forward how to do that.
Okay, okay. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so Kritika, please tell me what you are trying to do.
Yes, Abhishek, like
Am I am
long
I am
time.
I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yeah, Kritika. It's
Okay, Kritika. Yeah, please tell me.
yeah, like long time back, I just created the Azure account for some other purpose. So using my credit card. But now when I just try to sign up, it is saying that you cannot use the free trial, something like that. I'm getting there.
Okay, so you can use the Narayan, like one more person is there in the batch. You can use his
Okay.
account for now. Please tell me, please send me your email ID. I will tell him to basically add you to the subscription. Once he do that, you can use his account by using your own email ID.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
and also for the people who created the account in the past, if you are creating the new account, use a different credit card, different email ID, different phone number. Don't use anything same because they will catch it and then they will not let you to create an account. So use everything different. And then basically add your previous email ID, or suppose if you just called your friend and then you're using all of his details, you can basically add your email ID in that case. That also can be done. Okay, but use everything different. For now,
Okay. Okay.
Kritika, I will help you. You can send me your email ID. I will give you a subscription to practice.
Mm.
In Abhishek, when I'm using Narayan ID, the key vault is not like while we are doing the class, we had a problem, right? We are not able to
Mm.
uh,
For that
connect.
you don't need to be contributor. You need to be owner of that particular. So he has given you a contributor role. So you need to change your role in that case.
Okay. So I
Yeah.
was the same issue. I got the same issue. I was not able to do it.
Yeah. So because your role is contributor, that is why you're not able to do it. Once your role is changed, you can
So
do that.
he can change
Yeah,
the
he
my
can change.
role.
Yeah, he can change your role.
Okay.
Yes.
I will ask him then. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other doubt, guys?
Actually, I do have a question.
Okay, fine. So for Kitika, Ganesh, and Ram Kumar, I will for few of the topics which is being covered in this class, I will try to contact you and then we can basically cover other class as well. And also let's meet on probably like 14th or something. We will meet again, all of us. And for separately for you guys, I will meet in between so that I can cover the backlog with you guys. So let's meet, guys. I will share the recording in the group and then I will accordingly update you guys and then we can just take it forward from there. Okay. See you then. Thank you so much.
I do have a question.
Yes. Yes, Satya, please tell me.
Now I have created one block storage.
Mhm.
Can I update it to data lake? Like, is there any option?
Yes, there is an option, but I haven't used that option in the past. Uh, 1 second. There is an option, but yeah, this you can do. So suppose this is a blob storage. Yeah, I'm still sharing the screen, right? So this is a blob storage. Now, if I want to upgrade it, I can upgrade data lake upgrade. So yeah, so basically, this option is there, which you can use. So step by step, review and agree changes. This option you can opt for if you want to do it. But personally, on a professional level, I haven't used all of this to upgrade my account from blob to data lake. But there is an
Try
option.
it once.
Yeah.
And one more question I have. Uh,
Yeah.
Suppose like I have created one self-hosted runtime
Yeah.
environment
Yeah.
for connecting. Unfortunately, like my admin doesn't know regarding that, and he has deleted my account, like my ADF account. So now already like it has been installed in my laptop, Can I
Mm.
use the same for again reconnecting it? Because I tried it,
Mm.
but it
In
is
that,
not happening.
so once you install a self-hosted integration runtime, and basically you want to use the same self-hosted integration runtime to use another ADF which you created because previous ADF was deleted, right? So in the integration runtime, probably you need to like did you try to uh, delete the data or something like that of the to reconfigure this integration runtime? Did you try
Yeah,
that?
I tried reconfiguring the same, but it
Uh,
is not giving the first option. The remaining two options it is enabling, but the first option, if it get enabled with the first option, then only we can reconfigure it. I
First option
tried
as
it.
in?
I don't remember exactly. Abhishek,
Okay,
let
so
me try
that
and get back
yeah,
again.
so that particular DF, so probably you need to reconfigure it, but yeah, so I don't exactly remember it. What was the option before? So yeah, so probably you need to check it and then let me know. Okay.
Yeah, sure. I'll bring the screenshots along with me so
Yeah.
that it will
Okay.
be
Okay.
easier
Yeah.
for you to catch.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I have, Abhishek. Those
Okay.
are my doubts
Okay.
that I have.
Okay. Okay, guys. So let's end today's class. I will share the recording and then let's meet. Okay. Thank you so much for your time. See you then. Good
Yeah.
night.
Thank you, Abhishek.
Good
Bye.
night. Good night. Bye.